Can you really see? I approached the woman with the white cane whom I admired and often saw on the train. She tensed up and turned her face towards me. Then she said something shocking that I never expected. The person who was bullying the beautiful woman with the white cane was the same guy who always harassed me on the train. I happened to witness this by chance. Normally, I lack confidence and am quite timid, but I knew I couldn't just stand by and do nothing, so I gathered my courage. Apologized to her. She's carrying a white cane, which means she has a vision impairment. How can you be violent towards someone like that? I saw you. You hit her, didn't you? My name is Tom Jones, and I'm 41 years old. I work for a food company called Village Foods that operates cafes nationwide, such as Roasting Village and Village Deli. Fortunately, my hard work has been recognized, and I've been selected as the leader of the new product development team for the new fiscal year. Even though I'm this age, it's a bit embarrassing to admit, but I have a timid personality. I've always felt that I need to do something about it, and I actually saw this as a good chance to change myself. I'm not particularly close with my colleagues at work. I always feel somewhat hesitant to join groups and feel out of place. So, I thought this would be a good opportunity to first get closer to my team members and revitalize the new product development team. One reason I might feel out of place is that I'm still single. Am I the only one who's aware of this? No, that can't be. Even someone like me once had a fiancée. Her name was Lisa, and she was 3 years older than me. She would always say, "You bring out my maternal instincts, and I'll take care of you," pushing forward like a devoted wife. In my 20s, I didn't mind that at all, but one day she suddenly asked to break up. "You're too unreliable. You're always passive, and I don't feel loved. I'm worried about marrying you." Hearing this left me flustered. I had been optimistic, thinking we would get married without any issues, but her sudden change of heart caught me off guard. Lisa was disappointed by my incoherent response and left. Since then, I've had a hard time dealing with women and, frankly, with relationships in general. After work, my colleagues usually go out for meals or drinks together, but I always go straight home alone. After an hour-long train ride, I finally get back to my apartment in New Jersey. It's the only place I can truly relax, my own fortress. Our new product development team consists of 5 members, including me. Since the hot season is coming up, our manager instructed us to focus on creating new cool and refreshing drinks and desserts. As the chosen leader, I want to meet the manager's expectations. I was really excited about it, but then problems quickly arise. Tom is so desperate. It's creepy. This member named Ken is openly showing his dislike for me. He constantly mocks me, but since I'm the leader now, I want to get along well with the team. Pretending not to hear, I called out to everyone, "Let's do our best with the new product development." The members exchanged strange glances. I got nervous and somehow ended up acting awkwardly. Let's do this." The members burst out laughing, but it felt more mocking than friendly. My intentions were completely missing the mark. "Oh man, I can't stand a leader like this." Ken grumbled loudly enough for me to hear. I was hurt, but couldn't say anything. After that, he started avoiding me completely. He ignored my greetings and openly showed hostility towards me. Amidst all this, the day of the first team presentation arrived. "We're meeting in the 3rd floor conference room, so please gather there." I called out and went ahead. I wondered what ideas everyone would bring. Feeling excited, I entered the conference room, prepared some tea, and waited. However, even after 15 minutes, no one showed up. Wondering if something had happened, I went to check and found the 4 members still chatting at their desks. I thought everyone was having a good time, but it turned out they were bad-mouthing me. Having to gather in the conference room is such a drag. Everyone chuckled when they heard that. I felt quietly crushed. Yeah, Tom is usually so dull and gloomy, but he gets overly enthusiastic, and it's exhausting to watch. That's what they were saying. Is that how my team sees me? Feeling hurt, I quietly left the room. Since that day, I've spent sleepless nights wondering how I can get along with everyone. But one day after work, I decided to speak up. "Hey, if you're up for it, how about grabbing a drink? I'd like to get to know you all better." I suggested a get-together. Everyone was looking at me. Maybe this will work out. How about that new place nearby that serves great seafood? We could grab some good food and have an open conversation. You are forcing us to drink together. Ken looked at me with cold eyes. I tried to explain that wasn't my intention, but no one would listen. Oh, then how about just having a nice meal without drinks? The room fell silent, and no one agreed. Reluctantly, I picked up my bag. Well, I'll try to come up with another good idea. I left the office with my head down, sighing at how things just didn't work out. But then, I saw something shocking on the train ride home. I casually opened a message sent to me on a free messaging app. It was from one of my team members. "We're having a great time drinking together," read the message, with a photo attached showing everyone except me having fun. It was clearly sent to me by mistake. And the place was that seafood restaurant I mentioned. Yep, they really do hate me, I thought, feeling devastated. I was so shocked that the next day I stopped Ken, but he ignored me as if it were the most natural thing to do. So I approached Kate, the one who mistakenly sent me the message. It's embarrassing, but I don't understand why everyone hates me this much. If there's something I can fix, please tell me. Maybe feeling sorry for my desperation, Kate spoke in a low voice. His tone showed he was angry. I understand why Ken is mad. You lose trust when you do things like that. I had no idea what he was talking about and just stared blankly. Tom, you're supposedly flirting with young women in their 20s, right? It's like you act all quiet, but you're actually pretty shady. What? Women in their 20s? Me? No way. I'd never do that. It seemed like a terrible misunderstanding. I tried hard to explain it was a case of mistaken identity, but no one believed me. Ken was so confident he had evidence that no one would even listen to me. What exactly is proof? I understood why I was being looked at with suspicion, but how on earth could I clear up the misunderstanding? I held my head in my hands. After gathering some information, I found out the following. Ken has a much younger sister. The person his sister is dating has the same name as me and also lives in New Jersey. In other words, Ken thinks his sister is dating me. I groaned. His sister is still in her 20s. If her boyfriend were a dull guy in his 40s like me, no wonder Ken would be upset. He's totally against the relationship, but I have nothing to do with it. In fact, I find it annoying. I need to explain this properly. I look around the office, determined to find Ken and clear up the misunderstanding, but he's nowhere to be seen. His rampage continued. He actually went to directly negotiate with the manager. I think Kate would be a better team leader than Tom. Kate is well liked by the team, and his new coffee jelly was a big hit. Compared to that, Tom has no achievements and is not popular at all. The manager was bewildered by this. He answered that he would consider it and urged Ken to return to the office. Later, I was called by the manager. You need to bring the team together. I picked you because I thought you could do it. Don't make me look bad, he scolded me. I got on the train home, feeling down. Then I suddenly remembered it was Tuesday. Recently, there's been something I look forward to. Every Tuesday and Friday, a woman with a white cane gets on the same train car. She's very pretty with fair skin. Interestingly, she always sits next to me if the seat is open. Why is it always next to me? Well, the reason doesn't matter. I'm just happy. A breath of fresh air in my difficult daily life. I can't help but look forward to seeing her again today. It's just the time it takes for 2 stops, but seeing her on Tuesdays and Fridays makes me feel a little better. It's the day of the second new product idea presentation. I'm anxious, wondering if, like last time, no one will show up in the meeting room. But this time, the manager is attending, so there wasn't any boycott. My proposed new iced coffee, with a mint chocolate flavor, gets harshly criticized. Comments like, "This is the worst thing I've ever tasted," and "It's disgusting, it will never be sold," were thrown at me. I chuckled bitterly at how tough everyone was. On the other hand, Tom's iced coffee with maple syrup was highly praised. Everyone unanimously praised it, saying things like, "The bittersweet cold coffee pairs perfectly with the sweet maple syrup. This is gonna be a hit." The manager gave me a sour look. Another hit maker, Kate, presented a new dessert. It was a sherbet almond milk parfait. This too received high praise. After this presentation, The manager muttered that maybe we should reconsider some things. I felt like I had no place to stand. I felt sorry for not meeting the manager's expectations. I wondered if Kate would end up being the leader after all. Maybe I should just step aside for her. On the way back home on the train, I was lost in thought when that woman with the white cane boarded. She sat next to me again. For some reason, I suddenly wanted to talk to her, so I mustered up the courage to speak. "You always end up sitting next to me." The woman flinched in surprise. "Can you really see?" She stiffened. She turned her face towards me. Then, an unexpected shocking comment came out of her mouth. "What do you mean by that? Are you saying I'm pretending to have a disability?" The woman quickly became furious. "Oh no, I didn't mean it like that." I apologized desperately. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. But don't you understand that saying something like that would make me uncomfortable?" "You're right. I was thoughtless." This exchange drew attention in the train. I decided to get off at the station, where she always gets off, to continue my apology. "There are too many people watching here, so I'll get off at the next station. Please let me continue my apology. I mean, if you don't mind, it's the station you usually get off at." She nodded yes silently. After this, I would be desperately explaining myself on the platform. "Honestly, I wasn't trying to accuse you or anything. You just always sit next to me, and I was curious. But I'm really sorry for making you feel bad." I gathered every apologetic word I could think of and kept apologizing to her. Gradually, her attitude softened. "I understand. I was at fault too. I just lost my temper." Finally, she forgave me, and I felt a huge sense of relief. "I'm Catherine." Since she introduced herself, I did the same. "I'm Tom." Her eyebrows raised for a moment. "Oh, is something wrong?" "No," Catherine said with a smile. "You asked why I always sit next to you, right? It's because of the smell." I was surprised and instinctively raised my arm to sniff. I made a loud sniffing sound, so she must have figured out what I was doing. Catherine laughed. "It's not a bad smell. It's the smell of coffee. I love coffee. Whenever I'm near you, it always smells so good." I felt relieved. I work for a company that runs coffee chains like Roast Village and Village Deli. Oh, there's a Village Deli near my place. I'm quite a regular there. The atmosphere relaxed. Oh, thank goodness. So that was it. My questions were answered, and I was happy to talk to Catherine. I couldn't help but feel elated. But unfortunately, Ken witnessed the scene. He assumed I was his sister's boyfriend and got furious. "Tom, you womanizer. I told you to stay away from my sister." He suddenly confronted me. Catherine, who was next to me, was startled by his loud voice and stumbled. Ken, probably too agitated, didn't notice her white cane. He bumped into her. Catherine fell to the floor. Angry that she didn't move out of the way, Ken started hurling insults. "What the hell are you doing?" I placed my hand on Catherine's shoulder as she crouched on the floor. "Are you okay?" She sighed in relief and answered, "Yes." Her face was pale. She must have been scared. I glared at Ken. That was terrible. Only then did Ken notice the white cane. "What? She's blind. She's a nuisance. She should ride the train at non-peak hours so she doesn't bother others." I angrily reprimanded him. "How can you say something like that?" "What did you say?" We glared at each other. I'd reached my limit. I didn't care if I got demoted or removed from the team. Instead, I decided to say everything I had always wanted to say. I was furious because even Catherine, who had nothing to do with this, was insulted. Apologize to her. Carrying a white cane means she's visually impaired. How could you be violent to someone like that? "Shut up, you hypocrite. Acting like a feminist only when it suits you, old man. Don't you dare mess with my sister." "About that, I've been trying to tell you it's a misunderstanding. Why won't you listen?" Ken snapped back. "You're totally different from your usual self. Normally, you're so timid and can't say anything. I didn't think you could be so assertive. You're just trying to look good because this woman is beautiful." He sneered at Catherine. I firmly said that this is a separate matter. Sure, I've been interested in her for a while, but now isn't the time to talk about that. "Ken, you've got it wrong. I'm not dating your sister. I've got proof. You said you celebrated a birthday on your last day of." My sister said she celebrated her boyfriend's birthday on that day too. I was at a loss for words. Living in the same state, having the same name, and sharing a birthday seems like an incredible coincidence. Ken snorted. See, you can't say anything. And now you want to go after this woman? And my sister's just in your way? Unforgivable. I don't know about the birthday thing, but I'm telling you I'm not involved with either your sister or this Catherine. I don't trust you. Break up with my sister. I realized that everyone on the platform was watching us, some even asking, should we call a station attendant? No surprise, considering the commotion. I blushed. Just then, Catherine, who had been silent, suddenly spoke. I recognize your voice. You're the brother of my friend, right? Ken looked puzzled. My name is Catherine. My friend's name is Maggie. You're Maggie's brother, right? She correctly identified Ken's sister's name. His eyes widened. Yes, my sister's name is Maggie. But Ken looked suspicious. Show me proof that you're friends with my sister. Catherine smiled slightly. Maggie talks like this, doesn't she? She began to imitate her. I don't understand it, but apparently it was very similar. Ken was surprised. The way of talking, a bit nasal, and a tone that sounds needy and childlike. My sister has a unique way of speaking, and it's hard to imitate. But yours is really close. I remember because I hear it all the time. Catherine looked a little proud. And I have pictures too, she said, showing her phone. It was a picture of Catherine and Ken's sister standing together. Yeah, that's her. I get it. But what's your relationship with my sister? She usually hangs out with friends her own age who are all flashy. Ken asked, crossing his arms. No matter how you look at it, Catherine seemed older than his sister. After all, Catherine looked about the same age as Ken. I met her at a Spanish conversation class. I'm blind, but I'm very active and love to challenge myself with new things. That's right. My sister loves traveling abroad, so she goes to language classes. Ken muttered. Now he understood that Catherine and his sister were friends, but he still wondered why Catherine recognized his voice. Catherine, where did you hear my voice? How do you remember it? Do you really want to know? It feels like an interrogation. Catherine was getting a bit fed up with Ken's persistence, but she kindly explained. Ken's sister would use various sounds when communicating with Catherine because her hearing was excellent. For example, she would play videos with sounds of the ocean, wind, people's voices, and her family's voices, letting Catherine hear them. Ken's sister would then add explanations to these sounds. Maggie is very kind. She teaches me lots of new things. Ken's voice must have been in those videos several times. Finally, Ken apologized to Catherine. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were my sister's friend and was rude, but I won't apologize to Tom. Ken was still stubborn. That guy is just trying to deceive my sister. That's really not true. I strongly object. Ken turned to Catherine. Have you heard anything about McGee's boyfriend, Catherine? Actually, isn't it this guy right here? Ken pointed at me. This guy at his age is dating a girl in her 20s. Something's really wrong with him, and he's my colleague at work. He's going nowhere, and there's nothing respectable about him. Of course, as her brother, I'm totally against it. Catherine gave a slight smile. What's so funny? This man isn't Maggie's boyfriend. I felt relieved and couldn't help but relax my expression. But Ken was not having it. Huh? How do you know that? The smell is different. There it is. The smell again. I was amazed by Catherine's incredible sense of smell. Wait, Catherine, have you met Maggie's boyfriend? Ken was eager to hear what Catherine had to say. I haven't met him, but I know, because I met Maggie after her dates. She smelled really nice then. My heart skipped a beat. A nice smell. That scent was definitely from shampoo or conditioner, cosmetics. So I think Maggie's boyfriend is a hairdresser. But both you, Ken, and Tom smell like coffee. Ken was speechless. That's amazing. I find the smell of coffee comforting, so I always sit next to Tom. Tom always found it strange, but I knew from the start that he worked at a coffee shop. So I can definitely say Tom is not the guy. Catherine's reliable testimony gave me a boost of confidence. Having witnessed Catherine's remarkable ability firsthand, Ken was at a loss for words. Also, Maggie is always worried that she doesn't get along well with you. She says it's been really tough because you guys have been fighting a lot recently. Even though you used to be really close siblings, she wonders if she's causing you to worry. Maggie said that? Both Ken and I felt a pang of guilt in our chests. Hey Catherine, sorry to keep you waiting. Just then, who should appear but Ken's sister, Maggie. Huh? What are you doing here, bro? Well, oh, you see? Wait, what's going on? Catherine smiled. She had planned to meet Maggie today. What a coincidence. Ken is flustered. Meanwhile, Maggie nonchalantly says something shocking. Yeah, older guys just aren't for me. I broke up with my boyfriend. What? With Tom here? He pointed at me. Then Maggie is surprised. Huh? Who is this guy? I don't know him. See? Right, Maggie? We don't know each other at all. Yeah, that's true, Maggie says nonchalantly. Ken turned bright red and apologized to me. I'm so sorry. Maggie heard how her brother's misunderstanding caused a lot of trouble and apologized to me. Brother, what are you doing? I'm sorry. My ex-boyfriend's name is indeed Tom, but that's the nickname. The real name is Tommy. I look at Catherine. She brightens up and says, so Maggie's ex-boyfriend really was a hairstylist. Sorry, Catherine. I didn't tell you anything. But we broke up, so it doesn't matter anymore. More importantly, brother. Ken looked nervous as his sister gave him a stern look. Taking your frustrations out on others because of me is the worst. I despise you. But it's rare to spend a birthday together like that. I really thought it was my colleague Tom. You're so persistent. It's impossible to celebrate on the exact day. He has weekdays off. Oh, I see. When it comes to his sister, Ken becomes useless. I was just worried about you. Don't talk to me anymore. Ken got elbowed by his sister and became dejected. Catherine and I watched and laughed. Ken seemed to have been disowned by his sister and has lost all his energy. Moreover, a shocking fact was revealed in the new product development team. Ken's presentation of the new iced coffee with maple syrup was a copy of another company's new product. The manager was furious and removed Ken from the team. There's a strong rumor that he'll be transferred to a subsidiary in the next personnel change. Ken lost his confidence and has become a different, gloomy person. He used to be the center of attention, but now he only has tasks like maintaining the copier in the corner of the department. And the new product I came up with, mint chocolate flavor iced coffee, was improved with the help of Catherine, whom I've become close with since that incident. We tried putting mint chocolate ice cream on iced coffee. By changing the blend and roasting method of the coffee beans, we created a new taste through trial and error. With Catherine's support, I mustered up the courage to present it. Wow, surprisingly delicious. Even Kate, the hitmaker, approved, and the manager praised me. It's decided that it will be released as a new product at Village Deli. When I reported it to Catherine first, she was happy too. A lot happened, but now the misunderstandings with the team members have been cleared up, and we can work in a good mood. I hope to someday create a coffee that Catherine will call her favorite.